Today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic in mobile gaming, economics. Specifically, we're going to take a look at Marvel Snap's endgame economy, kicking off with an objective overview of what you get out of Marvel Snap, both as a free-to-play dolphin and whale player. We're going to answer the question, how much do you get spending nothing, and how much do you need to spend to get absolutely every card on release? The second part of this video is then going to dive into some of my very subjective opinions on the Marvel Snap economy based on the information that we summarize. Let's go ahead and dive right into the details now, shall we? The first thing you'll want to understand for the numbers that I am crunching today is that I'm looking at the Marvel Snap economy in 13-week snapshots. The reason for this is relatively straightforward. Marvel Snap seasons are always 4 or 5 weeks, with the year being broken down into 3 groups that contain 2 4-week seasons plus 1 5-week season. I can't do a season by season comparison because then I would have to have a bunch of asterisks between 4 and 5-week seasons with the differences that they have. So grouping them into a 13-week group that comes 4 times per year is the cleanest way I've found to do this from a data analysis perspective. Over this 3-season, 13-week period, free-to-play players earn enough credits to progress along the collection level track to unlock a little more than 15 spotlight keys. On average, if you only care about one thing in a spotlight cache, it takes you 2.5 keys to get it. This means in a 13-week period, a free-to-play player earning 15 keys can expect to get 6 new cards if they're using their resources efficiently. The one guiding principle you need to adhere to efficiently use your spotlight keys is never spend spotlight keys if you do not have enough to guarantee a thing that you want, meaning if there's only one thing in a spotlight week that you want, you should not be opening if you don't have at least 4 keys to start. The absolute worst way you can flub your spotlight resources is opening 1 key here or 2 keys there, getting lots of variants or random cards that often turn into 1,000 tokens, making it so you can get absolutely no new cards if you use your resources inefficiently. It's also worth noting that spotlight key variance is not bounded in either direction, which means it's definitely possible for you to run very cold during a 13-week period, meaning it takes you 4 keys to get every card, meaning you go from getting 6 new releases down to just 4. But that variance can also run in the opposite direction, and in theory, you could technically get enough spotlight keys to get every single release in a given 13-week cycle, and then some if you hit 13 cards in a row on the first key. Past spotlight keys, an important part of Marvel Snap's endgame economy is the collector's tokens resource. Completely free to play players can expect to get approximately 3,000 collector's tokens from the collection level track per 13-week cycle. Finally, that leaves us with free-to-play gold being the last piece of the economy equation. Free-to-play players can expect to get 6,200 gold per 13-week cycle, assuming they acquire the maximum gold from every avenue. The places free-to-play players acquire gold in Marvel Snap currently are 200 from your weekly missions, 400 from conquest per season, 500 from reaching rank 90, and then 300 contained inside of the free portion of the season pass rewards. Using your gold efficiently to progress your Marvel Snap collection technically doesn't have a one-size-fits-all, but in general, the most efficient way to get new cards with gold is by converting that gold to collector's tokens via Token Tuesday. Token Tuesdays has a few different rates that cycle through the shop, but the best of these is 1,200 collector's tokens for 1,500 gold, which means this 6,200 gold per a 13-week season converts loosely into 4,800 additional collector's tokens. Finally, the last place free players are going to get collector's tokens from is that 4th slot inside of the spotlight caches that regularly turns into 1,000 tokens when you hit a duplicate. If you are running statistically average while spending your spotlight keys to get new card releases, you can expect to get another 3,000 collector's tokens from spotlight caches over the period that we're looking at. This brings a free-to-play player's expected collector's tokens per 13 weeks up to 10,800, 3,000 from getting off the collection track, 3,000 from your spotlight caches, an additional 4,800 from converting your free gold into tokens via Token Tuesdays. This token amount means that you're guaranteed to get another new Series 5 release via collector's tokens per 13-week cycle, with a good bit left over to either pick up an existing Series 4 card or save for a future additional Series 5 card. These summary numbers in total mean that free-to-play players per a 13-week cycle can expect to pick up 7 or 8 out of 16 total card releases, or right around 50%. Moving on from the free-to-play option to those that are looking to spend a small amount of money to progress their Marvel Snap collection each season, the Season Pass remains the absolute best bang for your buck for just 10 USD per season, or $30 per 13-week cycle that I'm looking at. You get 3 additional cards guaranteed from the Season Pass. You also get an additional 4,500 gold from the Season Pass over those 3 seasons, which converts to an additional 3,600 collector's tokens, which in combination with the leftovers you had from what you get free to play guarantees you another Series 5 card release in Marvel Snap. If you're looking to spend a hair more past the $10 a month Season Pass, the Gold Pass is the next best way to convert currency into Marvel Snap resources at 5 USD for 1,800 gold per 30-day cycle. This means you get approximately 5,400 gold over a 13-week snapshot that we're looking at, which when converted to collector's tokens turns into yet another Series 5 card via Token Tuesdays. In total, this means if you are spending $15 per month or $45 per 13-week cycle that we are looking at, you will get an additional 4 out of 16 Marvel Snap card releases. This means in combination with the 8 that we expect free-to-play players to get for 15 USD per month, you get approximately 75% of Marvel Snap cards right on release day. Our final question is then, how much do you have to whale in order to close the gap that last 25% of card releases leaves? And the answer is quite a bit. There are a number of ways to convert your actual hard-earned cash into Marvel Snap currency at varying rates. However, of all the deals that regularly run, the best way to do this in terms of pure new card acquisition is simply buying collector's tokens directly. Specifically, if you are looking to get new Marvel Snap card releases for the lowest USD currency, there is a For You bundle that should be appearing in your shop a few times per month that turns 50 USD into 6,000 collector's tokens, which is conveniently exactly enough for a Series 5 card. With players missing 4 releases on average in that 13-week cycle, this means you're going to have to spend upwards of 200 USD on average to have every single card in Marvel Snap that releases over a 13-week period, on top of the 45 that you need to spend for the Season Pass and Gold Pass that we accounted for in the Dolphin spending. This means approximately you're going to have to spend around 80 USD per month in Marvel Snap to have every single card right on release day. All right, we've gotten all the nitty-gritty, data, detailed, objective stuff out of the way, and I'm sure, similar to myself, many of you have very subjective opinions that are pleasant and reasonable about the Marvel Snap economy that you're going to let me know in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and share some of my own now, shall we? First things first, I'd like to start off with an observation that we can see from Marvel Snap's economic decisions over the course of this year. The most important of these is the fact that they increased the number of cards they're releasing overall. Specifically, we went from 13 cards being released over a 13-week period, like we're looking at, up to 16 cards being released, an additional 1 per season. The reason for this increase, I think, is assuredly related to the numbers that I broke down here today being accurate. Specifically, I highlighted the fact that Season Pass / Gold Pass players get approximately 12 cards per 13-week season. This meant that if you have even slightly above average Spotlight cash variant in a 13-week period, you got access to every single card in that cycle right on release day with only spending 10 to 15 USD per month. Well, I'm sure many of you at home just heard $10 a month for every card on release. That sounds great. I think it's apparent from Second Dinner's response to this happening that that is not something that they view as economically sustainable for Marvel Snap as a product. This means that Second Dinner had to make one of two choices. Either they could make the existing rewards less generous, meaning players get less for the money and time that they're currently investing, or they could increase the amount of content that they're outputting, thus making it so you have to spend more in order to continue getting absolutely everything on release. Personally, I'm glad Second Dinner went with the second of these two options for a couple reasons. The first is that obviously there would be huge blowback and community outcry if they tried to scale down rewards from what they were. The second is I'm happy to have more cards to play with readily every single season. That observation out of the way, my current feelings in the Marvel Snap economy are generally positive. As someone who's whaled in a number of other digital card games, Marvel Snap coming in at about 80 USD per month is approximately 1/3 of what I used to spend to stay collection complete in a game like Magic Arena when that was my full-time content focus. As far as a non-whale perspective goes, I can't speak to that with firsthand experience, but in theory, Marvel Snap system seems to be mostly fine in that position. Of the 12 cards you're getting in a 13-week cycle, only 3 are forced upon you, the season pass cards. The other 9 that you get to have, you can pick and choose which weeks you're spending your spotlight caches to acquire them, giving you a lot of agency over which game pieces you get to play with and which ones you're electing to skip for a later date. One of the biggest and definitely legitimate complaints about the Spotlight Cash system that Marvel Snap currently leverages is that it generates that FOMO, or fear of missing out, for players feel pressured to get a card because it's going to be leaving the spotlight and you don't necessarily know when it's coming back, since collector's tokens are such a scarce resource in comparison. While that's definitely true, I think it's also important to acknowledge the positives that that fear of missing out creates. Our previous economic model that Marvel Snap used, i.e. just lots of spotlight tokens, created kind of the opposite problem where the optimal thing to do was kind of always wait and see what happens, wait to see what cards downgrade, and basically never spend your resources on anything other than a big bad. While the Spotlight Cash system definitely leverages FOMO. It leverages FOMO to get people to actually play the game as opposed to just sitting on a pile of resources like some kind of dragon. Finally, I like to close this video out with a couple of objective truths about the Marvel Snap economy. The first is that the Marvel Snap economy is carefully designed and crafted to be deeply predatory. The economy aims to obfuscate how much things cost, which is the reason a video like this needs to exist in the first place, making it confusing how much money turns into what particular thing in the client, makes it easier for people to spend money they didn't intend to spend as they don't realize what exactly they need to put in to get out what they want. The second is that the system very clearly leverages a fear of missing out to hopefully pressure people into spending money for the sake of not missing a game piece that they feel could be the next big thing. All of that being said, another thing that is objectively true is that every time Second Dinner has iterated on the Marvel Snap economy in a major way, they have made it cheaper and easier for the players to actually get the pieces that they need to play Marvel Snap. While I'll never tell you that any game's economy is perfect or ideal or can't be iterated on further, I think Second Dinner's choices at this point at least show us that they're trying to be in Marvel Snap for the long haul. This game is not a cash grab or a get out of dodge after they drain the players' wallets. They're very clearly trying to set up a system that allows them to make game content in a sustainable way for years to come, for many players such as myself and hopefully those of you at home to be around to enjoy it. This video was a lot of work, not only for me to put together and crunch the numbers on, shout out to my community for helping me with that, but also my editor to put together all of the graphics. If you appreciated the breakdown here today, please tap the like button, consider sharing the video with someone else, watch it once or twice or even 3 times more to help it out with the algorithm. Appreciate everybody that supports the content any way that you can, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I post breakdowns like this and deck guides and other things here many days of the week. I'd love to see you back again sometimes. Thanks for watching as always, folks, and happy snapping.